Hello and welcome to the live stream for the first game of the 2023 Beach Bowl. We are here in sunny San Diego. It is a little gusty out here in the bowl of Mira Mesa High School Stadium, so we are excited to see how that is going to play into the rematch from last year's bowl of Astra and the Sidewinders. Looks like we have the team getting ready. I am your play-by-play commentator, Jory Moore, and joining me today is
Deanna Abrams, and I will be adding some color commentary to the stream to try and help you understand the game better.
All right, so we did just mention how these two teams faced off last season at Beach Bowl, and Astra came out with the win. How much weight can we put into the history of last season with the teams now?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, Jory. So, I think it's hard to say. There's been a lot of turnover for players and coaches as well. So these are new teams, and this season in particular, Arizona has been pretty dominant, winning both of their games so far, whereas LA took a loss to San Francisco last week. So I think in a league like this, there's a lot of parity between the teams, and really anyone could win this game.
And I see right now we have the season standings for this season, and as you said, last weekend Arizona took a loss to San Francisco Falcons, whereas 2 weekends ago Sidewinders came out strong with 2 wins over Tempest and Oregon Onyx, who are of course out-of-conference teams.
That's right. Those out-of-conference games will still count to the win-loss, though, which determines who is going to go to championship weekend.
That is right. Every game matters, and every point matters.
That's right. So in just a moment here, we're going to have the LA Astra starting on offense, and Arizona is going to be starting on defense. Mako, what sort of defensive looks do you think we can expect to see from the Sidewinders this game?
I think Sidewinders are known for their hard match player defense. They have a lot of athletic players on their team, and we were on the field talking with the coaches earlier before the games were started, and they definitely said they want person defense and smart matchups. One of those matchups that they mentioned to look out for is Megan Maxfield and Camille Wilson on Astra, and seeing how Megan Maxfield with those huge D plays will be able to contain a great speedy cutter in Camille Wilson. And we have the pull. That was Helen Eifert with the pull. Astra picking up, got a little kick of the disc down the field, bringing it back to where it landed. Looks like we're seeing a hoe stack from LA. That's Weaver throwing it to Dr. Childress. Seeing some, and that is a great D right off the bat from Arizona. That is number 8, Petty. We have Kay Powell picking up. We've got Melissa Dunn in the backfield. Petty as well. Powell looking off Petty for an up line to Petty. Nice break to Powell. Looking for a cutter in the breaks. And that's Megan Maxfield, and look at that, Camille Wilson on defense there. Back to Powell. Weaver putting on that mark. Looks like a pick called from the stack with Lippincott returning the disc to Powell. We have Petty with the, almost.
Yeah, Caitlin Weaver getting a hand block there. That's an impressive stat for her to start her season debut off with.
And we have Ava Hanna starting from the sideline, giving it to Chip Yen. And they throw it to Childress with a big look, and Weaver comes down with it. And that is the first score, a hold for Astra.
Yeah, that was some impressive defense from Astra's O-line once they turned the disc to get the disc back, and then score pretty impressively with a nice huck to Caitlin Weaver. Again, that's her first game of the season. If this is her first point, I'm really excited to see what else she brings the rest of the game.
I know. Weaver is one of the players to watch for this week. It is her debut for Astra, as she had coaching conflicts last weekend during the SF game. So definitely look out for the addition her plays will make for Astra.
Yeah, it'll be interesting now to see a D line from LA. We'll see if they go down with a match D or a zone D, given that it is a little breezy here. And it's time for Arizona's O-line to show us what they have as well.
Notably, Arizona's O-line is missing Applegate, in the O-line backfield, but we should see O'Connell stepping up and filling in for that role.
Yeah.
That's Landry with the disc. Almost back to O'Connell.
All right, we'll see if Astra can get a quick break.
Pagella to pick up. Brown with a undercut. Looking for Pagella up line. Back to Brown. Cam Helm. And that's another score and a break for Astra.
What an impressive bid from Cam Helm to reel that one in. That's got to feel good for Astra, especially coming off of their loss against SF to start out with a break right away.
Definitely. An early on break and probably hoping to continue with this momentum to really cement their lead in this game early on, especially against, let's look at that replay. There's Landry. The disc just dropped. O'Connell wasn't able to make that grab. And then we see Pagella, Brown.
Yeah, with a beautiful break throw that floats just long enough for Cam Helm to run and bid onto it. Let's see if LA can keep their momentum going. I'm sure that early miscues like that from Arizona in the dump set will get cleaned up as the game goes on.
And we have the pull from Astra. Looks like it's rolling. We have Chip Chang, number 40, picking up. Looking immediately downfield, now looking for dump. A huck. Let's see if number 34, Garrett, came down with it, looking for a break. And that is Lippincott with the score.
That is a great high stall bailout throw from Chip Chang. When you get to those high stalls, sometimes you play for field position, but being able to find an open player and make a good throw at that high stall pressure is very impressive. Garrett able to run onto that. She's got a lot of speed, and then breaking the mark to Cody Lippincott. That's a pretty clean O point. Astra definitely put a lot of pressure on the handler resets, though, forcing that high stall throw. Seems like we're really missing Paige Applegate in that O spot handling.
Yeah, definitely. We're hoping to see Sidewinders make up for that missing O-line handler with O'Connell and Chip getting their rhythm as the game continues. And so we have the pull from Sidewinders. Sharon Sang to pick up. Ava Hanna looking to one of the more dominant players for Astra's backfield. Maggie O'Connor went to Weaver. Ava Hanna, now Maggie again. Looking downfield, but it seems like those match-up defense downfield is really working for Arizona Sidewinders, and these handlers are having to work it. O'Connor. Singh coming under. Back to O'Connor. Ava Hanna. Looking for Weaver. Weaver looking for a dump. Hanna. Hanna trying to move her dump. And Wilson coming for the bailout. Looks like there may be a call.
Yeah, in the first half of that point, Arizona was playing very tight defense on the open side, a little saggier on the break side, and we saw a lot of break throws get off, but now it looks like they've tightened off a lot. They're really pressuring those break throws as well, and they've gotten a stall with that really tight team D.
Yes, a stall call and upheld by the observers. We have Powell picking up for Sidewinders. Number 44 getting faked off. Salustro Ooh, and Powell with a great grab, but it looks like there was definitely contact. Injury called, and Powell will be subbing out. Looks like we have Shelby Petty coming in.
Looks like LA Astra is subbing as well. Amy Lee going off and Igawa coming on.
Shelby Petty to tap in the disc. An immediate huck downfield, looking for Gazelle. Great heads-up D by Camille Wilson.
Yeah,
Another
really
matchup.
great read there.
Igawa upfield to Chip Yun. Pick called.
Looks like there's some discussion about when the pick was called and where the disc is, but it's going to stay where it is right now.
Chip Yun looking downfield for Sang. Not quite able to reel it in, and Sidewinders have another chance.
That was some great pressure D by Jordan Harn, really showcasing that tight match Arizona defense.
In a turn, and now Astra actually has the disc back. Ava Hanna looking downfield, lets off a huge huck to Maggie O'Connor with two defenders. Contact, though, and a foul called. Looks like we have Jordan Harn and Megan Maxfield. Is that downfield? Melissa Dunn. Melissa Dunn and Harn were sandwiching Maggie O'Connor downfield. There was some contact, and they're going to the observer to determine whether that contact affected Maggie's ability to make a play on that disc.
Yeah, Maggie is definitely a dynamic player for the LA Astra. They rely on her a lot on offense, on defense. You'll see her handling, you'll see her going deep. Definitely well defended in this instance, and it looks like the observer rules that it was a foul, which means Maggie will maintain possession of the disc for LA.
Maggie waiting for the rest of Astra to catch up. Immediately to Sang. Sang give go. Gets it back from Maggie. Sang looking for the fill, Agawa. And that was a quick dish from Weaver to Camille Wilson for the score.
That's another point for LA Astra. Tough for Arizona to have two players deep, unfortunately getting tangled up. And in that case, the disc does go to the offense. It's good of them to be in that space. Everyone read the disc well. And Astra was able to maintain possession and then quickly convert for a score.
Yeah, Astra really able to be patient, swing the disc when those up lines aren't there, and using the break side to their advantage. Though most of these throws and cuts, we can tell, are extremely pressured from Sidewinders on defense.
That's right. LA is definitely cleaning up their end zone conversion rate, which after last game was the worst in the league, but here they are scoring routinely. Let's see if they can keep this pace of play up.
We have the pull from Amy Halverson. Rolling. Picking up is O'Connell to Chip Chang. Back to O'Connell. Looks like we're getting a poachy look here from Astra. And handlers are just working it. Back to O'Connell. And all the way across the field to Carly Steiner. Looking for K-Spa. Oh, and a poachy D from Avalon. Meredith Bile with the disc. Great heads-up D by Sidewinders. Everyone picking up someone immediately. Going down the sideline. Audrey Brown letting it rip for a streaking Bile. Oh, and a great bid. But not quite. Chip Chang picking up. Out of bounds. Astra will have another opportunity for a break score here. Pagella to pick up. To Camhelm. And a great bid from Carly Steiner. That is a long player there. Arizona coaches were boasting about the amount of lanky players they have on their team, and it's true. You can see it counting during the defense. Chip Chang to O'Connell. O'Connell looking. Getting a high stall. Igawa again in that deep space to Brown. Brown looking. Oh, and it looks like a bit of a miscommunication there. Brown looking for either Helm or Bile. Steiner for Sidewinders, picking up on the sideline. Giving it to O'Connell, who's looking off downfield.
Looks like LA is relying on their person D for this possession after
Hasani dumping to Chip Chang. K-Spa, oh, just off the hands of K-Spa. I'm wondering, Deanna, how much the swirly wind down on that field is playing into these uncharacteristic drops and throws just off the hands of players.
I think it's definitely playing a role. For example, Chang's throw on the sideline trying to break the mark and the disc never coming back in bounds. That's an example of wind pushing the disc out of bounds. Or that first huck from Astra that Igawa was almost able to grab. The wind sailed that one a little far as well.
And we're seeing Astra working the disc back up towards her goal. Halverson lets an away throw off, and that is Marty Martinez catching it in the end zone for an Astra break.
Yeah, that's a really effective 3-3-1 zone that Astra was able to pull both for the first and second Arizona possessions. Igawa getting the D as the deep in that zone. First on an underpass, which is impressive, and then on a deep shot. And then on the third possession, they played person, but a missed throw from Arizona gave them the disc again, and Astra's D-line was finally able to convert.
What do you think some adjustments? Oh, let's look at a quick replay here. And that's Halverson with the catch by Marty Martinez on Astra. Halverson able to just spot Martinez down the line.
Yeah, incredible catch by Martinez under pressure. Chang was right there, so close to the throw, and great of Martinez to keep her eyes on that and go to the disc, really make sure she came down with it.
Astra pull. We have Chang picking it up, and immediately huge huck. Oh, and just again off the hands of Garrett.
Well read by Garrett, but the wind can make the disc pop up or drop down faster than players expect.
Weaver with an undercut, looking downfield, looking, oh, and a slight overthrow, but it looks like there is a foul called on the throw, no contest. So the disc will go back to Weaver. Weaver with the disc. Looking to break it to Cam Helm. K. Powell, though, putting on immense defensive pressure. And Sidewinders are having another chance to score. Chang to pick up. Looking immediately for Powell.
Yeah, and Powell, a player who usually plays more defensive points, we see Arizona bringing onto their O-line.
O'Connell able to spot Gazelle in the end zone.
Yeah, looks like that throw, which may or may not have been meant for Garrett, is reeled in by Gazelle. Two receivers knowing where their thrower wants to put it, and Arizona is finally able to hold.
And we have a little under a minute left in this first quarter, and the score now 4-2. Quick replay here. Here's Chip.
That's right, and number 51 swinging the disc. And Arizona really making use of that break side to score. All of Astra on the open side of the disc, and Arizona really able to run onto that in the end zone with some space. We're finally going to see Arizona's D-line out here, hoping to get a break and bring the score closer.
Looks like we have Eifert for the pull. Great pull from Eifert, giving Sidewinders a lot of time to run down. O'Connor to pick up. Centering to Hannah. Oh, and an amazing play by Lippincott, but we see Childress.
Yeah, you could see Lippincott wanting that run through D from before the disc was even thrown. She did have space, but unfortunately contact was still made. And looks like they're talking it out with the observer.
Yeah, any contact of that nature, I wonder if they're discussing whether it was a dangerous play. Let's take a look at a replay. Looks like this is not quite the actual run through.
The observer is going to rule that it was not a foul, which means Arizona will be getting the disc, I believe.
All right, so let's take a look at that again.
In slow motion, perhaps.
Yeah, it definitely looks like there was contact in that play, but we will now be seeing Petty picking up the disc for Sidewinders. Petty looking downfield, Lippincott. Lippincott looking to dump. Harn with the disc, back to Lippincott. Harn staying in the center, that's Eifert. Centering back to Harn. And we see cuts coming from the front. Looks like there is a pick. Looks like Sidewinders are in their red zone set.
They are, although surprisingly you have different players around the disc than usual. Harn and Dunn are not players who are usually handling, but they're trying to get some motion started.
Dunn looking for a break. Petty not able to reel that in. Looks like possibly the wind pushed it.
Yeah, that's a lot of those break throws going in that direction have been falling down faster. Hopefully players can start making the adjustment for that wind.
Hannah picking up. Astra's handlers getting pushed into their own end zone, but Weaver there to bail Hannah out. Weaver with a huge huck, and Petty able to get a hand on it.
Yeah, those upwind hucks are coming up a bit short and tending to float, whereas it's the downwind backhand break throws that are hitting the ground faster than we expect.
And it does look like we have a timeout called on the field.
It's the end of the first, so once time has expired, any turn ends the quarter, and that will be 4-2 Astra, Arizona. Jory, what do you think so far of the fact that LA has 2 breaks already in the first quarter, whereas Arizona has none?
I think we might be seeing the effect of Sidewinders not having one of their central O-line handlers to keep that disc in motion in the backfield. But we're also seeing a lot of these throws come up and just get tipped off the hands of the receivers. So it must also be a part of getting used to the gusty winds that are at play down in the bowl. What do you see, if any, adjustments that Astra has made from last weekend in terms of defense?
Yeah, well, their 3-3-1 is really interesting.
And we will be right back after this break. All
All right, we are about to start the second quarter of this game. The presenting sponsor for these broadcasts is Discraft, helping to make live streaming the WUL possible. So as we were saying before the break, we've seen a very effective 3-3-1 from Astra in these windy conditions, played actually when Arizona was going downwind. Very effective zone, although most of what we've seen from both teams is just tight match defense, which is what we were expecting. Both of those teams really rely on their athleticism and trying to win one-on-one matchups to get the disc, and both teams have gotten blocks with that method. It's just been a question of which D-line is able to convert, and right now that's Astra.
Yeah, I would have to agree with the defensive blocks that are being generated by both teams. We really need to see the O game of these D-lines and making sure that they can convert and possess the disc once they generate those turns.
That's right. In a wind like this, there are going to be turns and missed throws, and every player on the field needs to really step into their throws and be comfortable playing O and D.
O'Connell to pick up, centered to Steiner. Looking for K-Spa, coming under. Looks a little bit of a bracket by Astra downfield. O'Connell back to K-Spa. O'Connell looking for Chang. Handlers working against this kind of poachy defense from Astra. K-Spa with the disc and a big backhand. And Landry comes down with it for an immediate score for Sidewinders out of the first quarter into the second quarter start.
Yeah, that's got to feel good for the Sidewinders. LA Astra came down with that 3-3-1 again, and Arizona was able to work it patiently until Astra tightened up, and then on that transition, put a throw deep that was read just really beautifully. Let's take a look at that replay.
And here we see K-Spa letting it go, and Landry able to read that over a jumping Bile.
Yeah, that's great defensive pressure from Bile, but the disc was over her head, and Landry came down with it. That's a much-needed hold for Arizona, putting the score at 3-4. Astra still up, but it's a tight game.
And now we get to see a look at Astra's O-line.
That's right, where you'll see a lot of the same players as on the D-line: Ava Hanna, Camille Wilson, Maggie O'Connor, Caitlin Weaver.
Here we go, the pull from Sidewinders. Maggie to pick up, centering to Hannah. Looks a little poachy off of the handlers here. Hannah getting it to Weaver. Shooting it all the way across back to O'Connor. Looks like the handlers are working against this poach. Up the field, Weaver. Giving it back to Hannah. Sees the Childress open down the sideline to Wilson. Back to Hannah. Weaver and Childress connecting. Back to Hannah. Looks like Sidewinders is in-person defense. And we see Astra just give going. A very quick game. And Maggie O'Connor able to come down with a slightly high throw. And Astra able to score with a clean hold.
Yeah, we saw Arizona come down in a zone of their own there. 2-3-2 looked like, with Doust in the backfield along with Thomas, and they were able to prevent Hux and slow the Astra defense down, or sorry, the Astra offense down, but Astra was eventually able to score there.
Yeah, so those are, that's one of the zone looks that the Sidewinder coaches mentioned they might sprinkle in there, given the wind and trying to just slow down the Astra pull plays and offense. Let's get a look at that Astra offense again. Childress popping it up to O'Connor, who's able to hold on to it for that score.
Yeah, and honestly, great defense by number 8, Shelby Petty. The wind really helping pop that disc up over the defender's head.
Astra pull from Halverson. Garrett stopping that disc. Powell centering to O'Connell. Back to Powell. To Chang. Downfield, no open looks. Seeing Landry all the way on the sideline, who puts it up to O'Connell with a bid, but not quite able to connect. Halverson for a quick pickup to Gawa, throwing it across the field, but Landry there for the block. Powell picking up to Chang, looking for O'Connell. K-Spot with a great bid to maintain possession. I'm sorry, Gazelle. There's K-Spot with an undercut. And not quite able to hold on to that disc.
Yeah, Arizona just playing tight person D on that turn, hoping to get the disc back.
Igawa looking, oh, and it looks like Sidewinders with another opportunity to score here. Chang picking up. Looking for Powell. Powell looking downfield, but breaking to O'Connell, who sees K-Spa. And break side score for Gazelle.
Yeah, really an incredible point for Gazelle, able to bid to save possession earlier and then make a great cut for that score. Astra's initial zone look was really stifling for the Arizona offense. They weren't able to get a lot of motion, but again, the wind is going to give multiple opportunities on each point for each line to score, and Arizona is finally able to convert. You can see here a big around backhand just does not go far enough in this wind, and Arizona with a really nicely placed backhand break. Looks like they've figured the wind out for those. They're able to put a little more upward edge on the disc on those OI backhands so that they sail right into the receiver's hands.
Yeah, really able to take advantage of the break side in that quick offensive look after the turn. So we have Sidewinders pulling. Done with the pull. Looks like Grimshaw centering to Hannah. Looking back to Grimshaw. Weaver coming from the center to Sang, to Lee. Lee looking for that dump, back to Sang. Hannah with the disc, looking for a deep, fakes it off, back to Sang. Sang looking downfield, but giving it back to Hannah. We do have a call.
A lot of great defensive pressure from Arizona here. Number 15, Melissa Merrick, is playing really tight on number 8, Caitlin Weaver. That's a really fun matchup to watch. Had a bid attempt earlier, really hunting for that D.
Ava Hannah. Ooh. Cynthia Thomas with the tight defensive pressure there. Childress. And that is a goal. Childress to Grimshaw.
Yeah, past a bidding Eifert. Arizona here really trying to get the block, putting all of their effort into that point. But Astra able to score despite those efforts. Up to now in the league, Arizona had been leading. Let's take a look at the replay. Really nice read by 28 to go to that disc, which dropped a little quickly in the wind. Arizona, though, up to now had been the leader in number of blocks as a team per game, averaging 17 blocks per game. And you can see the defense really working hard, really bidding, putting in effort, trying to maintain that level of defensive intensity. And Astra, playing really impressively, going to every disc, putting touch on their throws to work through that tight pressure.
I know Zubair had talked earlier about wanting his Astra offense to be aggressive and commit to those cuts. We have Sidewinders picking up Chang. Garrett with the disc, finds K-Spa down the field. K-Spa looking for dump, back to Chang. Chang with the huck. But Astra able.
Yeah, we see Astra there forcing backhand, really baiting Arizona into throwing those OI backhands that are dropping quickly, and we can see there that Astra is able to take advantage of that and get a D.
We have Astra in the backfield, Halverson looking downfield. Bile with the diving grab. Guzman with a big huck. Brown reading that disc and able to come down with it just outside of the end zone, but puts it away.
Yeah, great run on defense by Garrett. That also, the Garrett-Brown matchup is really fun. Two shorter players who are both incredibly fast, incredibly great receivers, really dynamic players. All right, and we see the replay here of that OI backhand, which comes down quickly enough for Astra to get the D. And then after an incredible save by Bile, Astra puts up a huck of their own, and this one going the other direction in the wind floats long enough for Audrey Brown to reel it in and then put it in the hands of her teammate.
Yeah, it looks like that was Pagella for the grab there.
Number 80, I believe.
Yeah, so the score now is 7-4 Astra Sidewinders. This is really a different Astra than we saw last week. They are moving the disc quickly, really going to every disc on offense, and their zone D is really mucking up the gears for Arizona. Arizona, on the other hand, playing really tight pressure D. I do think that that pressure is going to build up as the game goes on, and they're going to start generating blocks. They're putting in great effort. Jory, any players' performance that has been really standing out for you so far?
On the Sidewinder side, it's actually kind of hard to choose. I feel like their depth of roster is really there, and like you said, the tight defense is from across the board on with their defenders. So as we go through the games, they're able to rotate through their roster and still expect that high pressure defense. I would say that Chip Chang is doing well in the backfield, along with O'Connell stepping into that O-line handler position with Chang. I think they're finding their rhythm a lot more now as we're well into the second quarter.
Yeah, and Powell as well coming and playing offensive points and helping anchor the backfield.
Powell to Maxfield. Maxfield to Garrett, but it looks like it pops up in the wind.
Yeah, those upwind throws are going to be a little higher and floatier. Oh, incredible bid.
Maddie Shade to Cam Helm. Pagella looking to Shade. To Helm. Looking downfield. Anino able to get separation, but looks like there is a stall call.
Helm has been having a great game so far, running just really quickly, able to make a lot of great grabs, putting tight defensive pressure on the handlers, guarding that upline space. That's not the first time that we've seen Chang and Helm marking up on each other, and that's a fun matchup to watch as well.
And that stall is upheld. O'Connell picking up for Sidewinders, immediately looking for Chang. Chang able to come down under pressure with Helm. Back to Chang. Chang and O'Connell working it in the backfield. Garrett with the disc. Back to O'Connell. And finds Maxfield in the end zone.
Yeah, that's an incredible breakthrow by O'Connell, really using her length to step out, but also getting very low, putting a lot of spin on that disc, finally making adjustments to keep those upwind throws from popping up, keeping them low, keeping them spinny, and Arizona is able to score.
Yeah, seeing a lot more patience and possession from the O-line handlers for Sidewinders, able to work that disc as their cutters get into position. There we see O'Connell to Garrett.
Yeah, and
Garrett,
that is O'Connell's first assist of the game. Again, just a really beautifully placed throw, especially in this wind. That's a small and difficult window to hit.
now we have Eifert getting ready for the pool for Sidewinders. Sidewinders coming out, hoping to get a break against Astra on this point.
That's right. Kez Gazelle, a dynamic defender, hasn't gotten a block yet this game. I'm sure she'll be trying to right now.
Hannah in the center of the field with the disc. O'Connor following that disc to come down with it, looking for Camille Wilson. Downfield in her hands, but it looks like there was pressure from a few different Sidewinders causing her to bobble that disc.
Yeah,
Powell picking up for Sidewinders. Melissa Dunn looking for Eifert. Eifert lets off a huck. Floaty. Lots of players in the space. Gazelle able to come down with it safely. Dunn puts it up again, looking for Maxfield in the end zone. But it looks like Chip Yun, they are able to come down for it. Giving it to O'Connell. Diving Gazelle. Weaver and another dive from Sidewinders. That hard defensive pressure. Center to O'Connell. Sorry, O'Connor. Seeing Wilson coming under. A poached Astra player, but not able to come down as that disc pops up. Petty picking up for Sidewinders. Seeing Gazelle with separation downfield. Gazelle back to Petty. Great patience from Petty. Breaking to Powell, to Eifert, back to Petty. Petty going every other. To Powell. Looks like we have Merrick with the disc. Back to Powell. Nice give and go here. Quick movement from Sidewinders. Petty looking down. They are in their red zone, hoping to score. And it looks like Eifert will get that score for Sidewinders.
Yeah, on that possession, Sidewinders really played more patiently. They were grinding the unders, throwing only under throws, shorter yardage gains, but really making sure that their defender is wide open. They can run onto the disc, and that in this wind, they're going to complete those throws. And that patience, while tiring, really paid off. Whereas you saw when they were hucking it more, those throws are a little harder to come down with. Well defended by LA Astra, and in these conditions, the unders tend to be the safer throws.
Let's get a replay. Oh, and just out of Wilson's hands, and then here is that huck downfield that Astra was able to read and defend. Just lots of turns, lots of heads-up D on both sides as these discs pop up, float longer than the thrower intended.
Yeah, especially on those longer throws. Sometimes they're going to float, sometimes they're going to drop, and that heads-up D, once the disc is up, I'm going to leave my person, I'm going to go play defense, I'm going to get the block. That's really going to make the difference this game, putting in that effort.
Igawa pick up, centering to O'Connor, to Weaver. Looks a little poachy from Sidewinders, but tightening up now. Childress coming under to Lee, pass another bidding Sidewinders defender, back to Childress. Centering to Weaver, but O'Connor there.
Lippincott is baiting those Ds.
Weaver with a bidding grab. Lee speeding by. Quick movements, able to get open. Weaver with the disc. Looking for O'Connor, looking downfield. Lee again. Looks like there is a call, a timeout call.
Yeah, really great play by Lee, getting the disc almost every other. A super quick and speedy player who's able to get open on almost any defender. Just really quick change of direction, really quick acceleration, and really steady with the disc. Really good throws, good breaks, makes good decisions. Great point for her so far.
Yeah, definitely a reliable player, and you know that Sidewinders know that as well, as they do have Shelby Petty matched up against Amy Lee, hoping to contain those quick movements.
Yeah, and Arizona playing really tight pressure D. There was one throw that almost got put up where Cody Lippincott, who's gotten 2 Ds so far this game, was ready to run through on that, and at the last minute, the defender or the thrower faked that off and threw another throw.
Yeah, I'd say if there's a motto for Sidewinders defense, it is ready to run through, ready to lay out.
That's right. And Arizona broke last point, bringing it back up to a really close game. 6-7, Astra still leading, and Astra coming out on offense right now, hoping to put a little more of a buffer for themselves up on that scoreboard. And Arizona probably trying to break again.
And we see Astra offense getting ready. O'Connor starting with the disc. Harn on the mark for Sidewinders. Let's see what Astra comes out with. Immediately to Igawa. Not quite able to get it to Pritchard. Sidewinders with an immediate huck.
Yeah, Thomas streaking deep after playing that tight pressure D that helped contribute to that low throw, which was a turn, but that disc really just sailed so far to the right side of the field, out of reach.
O'Connor on the sideline looking for Weaver. Weaver maintaining possession. Back to O'Connor. We see Weaver in the center. Lee able to come off the stack to get that disc. Igawa, oh, but that disc pops up at the last second, and Lippincott making sure Sidewinders gain possession now. Sounds like we have another timeout call.
Yeah, great heads-up D by Lippincott when that disc tipped off Igawa's hands. Again, like we talked about being heads-up in the wind, any disc could be yours. Arizona came out sort of saggy on the handlers, but then out of the timeout just played really, really tight match defense, trying to be within a couple inches of their player, and that's paying off for them. They're going to come out with a chance to break and tie the game. After a really dynamic start from Astra, this could become a tie.
Yeah, we see that Sidewinders' defensive pressure generating those blocks and bringing the score back up into Astra's favor. As you said, they have a chance to tie this game, and we just need to make sure that with this timeout we see Chang, O'Connell in the backfield for Sidewinder offense, really hoping to secure that score.
Yeah, they're going upwind right now, so it's going to be really important to put a lot of spin on those throws, try and keep them from popping up, and make sure that Astra doesn't have a chance to come down with any of them.
And it looks like Sidewinders will be starting out with a vert stack. O'Connell to pick up.
Arizona really putting a lot of their star players on this line. They really want to score this one.
See Landry off the back of the stack. High pressure, though, from Bile. Bile, a former Sidewinder, excited to play against her old teammates and generating a block. Now Astra with the disc. Pagella to Halverson. Bile focused, able to get that disc after it popped up. And
Astra now calling a timeout on their own. This is a really important point. I mean, there is a big difference between 8-6 and 7-7, not just on the scoreboard, but in the momentum of the game. Oh, I'm sorry. That is the end of the quarter, not a timeout.
No, sorry. It is actually a timeout, but it does look like time expired for the second quarter.
Got it. So Astra called a timeout before time expired, which means they will have one possession to score.
Okay, so there are 6 seconds left. The
All
clock
right, we
ran out a
finally
little
got the
bit.
right time. There's 6 seconds left on the clock. Although that does mean that likely Arizona will only have one chance to score if there's a turn. Unless it happens within the first 6 seconds, that will be the end of the first half. So, like we said, this is a really big moment in the game. It's likely the last possession of the first half, and it could either end with Astra scoring and giving themselves a 2-point buffer, or with Arizona denying that score and keeping the game really close. There's a replay of just incredibly tight D from Astra to give them this opportunity to pull further ahead.
All right, and we see Astra picking up the disc. Looks like there might be some
confusion about when you can start counting, but Arizona is set up. Looks like they have one person poaching in that open side lane, really trying to muck up the defense and force a break throw in this wind.
Halverson on the sideline. Astra handlers working this in the backfield. Brown snatching the disc. Looking for Pagella. This is the last possession of the half.
Oh, and looks like a stall may have been called. We'll see if that's upheld. 7 seconds goes so fast in this league, and it is counted by the players. Astra, in that point, was initially just playing on the open side, making a lot of really tight inside throws, but they finally swung the disc to the middle of the field, and if they keep possession, they are.
All right, so observer
in a
ruling
good
is
field
it's not a
position.
stall, it's a completed pass over here.
All right, the observer calls that it's not a stall. The pass was completed, so Astra has the disc on the sideline with.
It is Bile on the sideline, looking for a dump. Halverson able to get that disc back. Still on the sideline, seeing Guzman. And Guzman to Bile for a score. And that is 8-6 at the end of half. I'm sure that is a great feeling for Bile. As we said before, Bile was on Sidewinders last year and had mentioned that she is excited to play against these former teammates of hers.
Yeah, and that is a hold for the LA O-line, but a really important hold to stop Arizona's momentum. Sidewinders had just gotten a break score. We're really coming up to tie the game. So Astra really needed that hold, and incredible defense by Bile to get the disc back and give them one more chance to score. An incredible effort by the whole team to put the disc in the end zone.
And here we see Bile finding Halverson, who was able to get into that small space there.
And Bile gets it back up line. What a great point for her, getting both the defensive block and the score.
With Guzman able to find Bile in the end zone for that point.
Yeah, so Jory, what do you think of the game so far?
I think it is a pretty close game still. As we saw in the beginning, Astra came out strong, had that incredible first few points, but Sidewinders feel like they're more in their groove now. They're fixing the way that they're throwing in the different wind. They're putting on the pressure, and most importantly, defensively, and getting the blocks that have brought them back up to keep this game close.
Yeah, definitely see Arizona's effort on defense paying dividends, and we're going to take a quick break for halftime.
We believe that women and non-binary athletes deserve to be seen and our abilities showcased for the world to see.
We believe in perpetuating Ultimate by establishing professional teams and developing future generations of players.
We believe players of all identities and backgrounds deserve an equal opportunity to be recognized and lauded for our achievements in our sport.
We believe in sustainably and responsibly creating equitable and accessible avenues for women and non-binary athletes to join and participate in our sport.
We believe that being transparent,
open,
and responsive to criticism is critical,
and that there should always be space
to fix our mistakes, grow,
and be better.
We are the Western Ultimate League.
All right, let's take a look at some stats from this game so far.
Yeah, so we can see that in terms of holds, the teams are pretty even, with Astra having 5 holds and Arizona having 4. Astra did start on offense. Same for clean holds. Clean holds are holds without any turns, only 2. This number is pretty low, likely because of that wind. We've seen so many discs pop up, drop down quickly, as well as defensive blocks. Teams are pretty even in the number of turnovers as well, and Astra only has 1 more break than the Sidewinders. And in fact, the Sidewinders, in terms of break chances, are converting more frequently. So I think that this is a really tight game for sure. And Arizona is definitely going to try and make a comeback. What are you seeing, Jory?
Yeah, the stats speak for themselves. This is a pretty even game in terms of holds, clean holds. So let's take a look at the weather that these players are contending with. As you can see, it is a nice San Diego 62. Right now the wind does say that it's 3 miles per hour, but it is definitely of note that the wind is a little different on the field in this bowl.
Yeah, I would say it's gusting pretty heavily, maybe as high as 10, 15 miles an hour, which really makes a difference. We've seen a lot of those discs pop up, and up here in the booth, we can feel the wind. The sun is going to start setting soon, and I wonder if that visibility will play a role at all in some of these hucks, trying to read them through the sun. But really, it's a great day to play Ultimate.
Yeah, it is a beautiful day in San Diego, and I'm sure both teams are grateful for such a sunny day to be playing this first game. What do you think we're going to see out of Arizona going into the second half?
Yeah, well, I think that their match defense has been working pretty well for them, and we've seen a lot of it. They have generated several blocks. Cody Lippincott has gotten 3 this game, which is pretty impressive. And we've seen a bunch of really tight defense and really close bids by the D, coming within inches of getting the block. So my guess is that they'll keep playing match D, keep trying to build that pressure, and see if LA can maintain the athletic intensity and the mental focus needed to continue playing through such tight defense with a bunch of just really athletic players.
Yeah, I would have to agree, and we will go out to another break and be back soon for the second half of the first game of Beach Bowl. Going into the second half, 8.
times, but I come back around, and I don't know why. Shouldn't let you get under my skin. I swear I'd never fall for you, not again. I can't let it go, baby. I can't let it go, baby. I try. I can't let it go, baby. I can't let it go, baby. I try. All on my face, they tell me I'm wrong, and I'm gonna regret this in the long run. All of this on and off and back and forth made me lose my mind. But baby, I won't know what we could be if we don't try. We go with the flow as I forget all of your lies. What if I told you that you get just one more chance to get it right, just one more chance. Don't fool me twice, 'cause I can't let it go, baby. I can't let it go, baby. I try. I don't think that I could take it. A heartbreak like that again. So baby, just please don't break it, and I'll give you one more chance. Oh, one more chance. Oh, one more chance. We go with the flow as I forget all of your lies. What if I told you that?
And welcome back to the first game of Beach Bowl. We are going into the second half of the game of Astra versus Sidewinders. Here we're taking a close-up look at Kez Gazelle on Sidewinders. Hometown, Winnipeg. Is that Canada? Resides currently in Chicago, Illinois. A huge playmaker in Sidewinders. What else can you tell us about her?
We've seen her make a ton of incredibly athletic plays this game already, having a diving bid to save possession, that huck that went up that about 6 or 7 players were trying to get a read on, Kez Gazelle came down with. She's made a lot of plays on defense, coming really close to getting layout blocks. Has played a lot in Wichita, Kansas, and actually was named MVP and Most Improved Player for Summer League. She's very new to the sport. I think has only been playing for about a year. Was coming in, I believe, as a D1 soccer goalie. So a lot of those skills are translating.
And we have the pull from Eifert to start the second half. Let's see if Sidewinder defense can generate a turn and bring this score closer. Hannah to pick up. Looking for Grinshaw. Grinshaw finds Weaver, tightly defended. Weaver looking downfield, puts a huck up. Camille Wilson and Childress not able to come down with that. K-Powell picking up for Sidewinders, looking for a quick break. Finding Dunn in the center of the field, who gives to Petty in a power position. Back to Dunn in the center. Dunn looking for Powell. Powell snatching the disc out of the air, looking downfield to Petty. These handlers are working it. Petty lets off a huge huck. Camille Wilson, though, with the closing speed and a defense. We have both players down.
Yeah, that disc sailed all the way out the back of the end zone, and looks like they may have landed on the track behind it.
Yeah, doused the intended receiver for Sidewinders. Looks like she may be coming off with an injury call. Yeah,
really tight person defense from Arizona at that point. made it so that there were no good downfield options, forced a high stall huck from Astra that was D'd. Although Astra able to get it back.
And then we do see Wilson also taking injury on the field.
Yeah, looks like we've got Sharon Sang and Megan Maxfield subbing in.
And so this will be Astra picking up, hoping to maintain a hold for this point. O'Connor walking up to check in the disc. And we have Dunn on the mark. Ava Hanna ready, going up line. Bobble, but able to maintain a hold on the disc. Looking downfield, finding Weaver. Oh, but just off the hands of Weaver. And we have Harn. In a bid from Powell, not able to maintain possession. Astra with another chance. Hannah picking up, Petty on the mark. Hannah seeing downfield, but looking off for O'Connor. O'Connor to Weaver, back to O'Connor. Some quick give-go between the handlers. Weaver in the center, looking for O'Connor. Astra handlers really working this disc as their cutters are tightly defended downfield. Cheeky throw from Hannah to O'Connor. O'Connor, huge huck, looking for Weaver. Oh, and there is contact.
Yeah, good pressure deep from Melissa Dunn. Both players looking up at the disc and getting their feet tangled together.
Looks like the players are going to talk about it. Wonder if there is a question of whether or not Weaver would have had a play on the disc without the contact. It was going pretty far.
Yeah, so when there's a foul called, you know, if the player could not have gotten the disc even without a foul, the turn stands. We'll take another look at that. There's the disc sailing. You know, I do think that disc hung long enough. Weaver is a very fast, very dynamic player. I think she could have caught up, made a bid for the disc, and looks like she will be getting possession.
Yeah, players able to talk it out, and Weaver pre-stall, allowing other players to move on the field. Weaver immediately finds Childress, who looks for... Sorry, numbers are hard,
Chip
but
Yen.
I believe that is Chip Yen, and they are able to reel in that score, which is a hold for Astra. Again,
right.
Turnovers on both sides, both from defensive plays and also those bobbles that are happening.
Yeah, Astra now up 9-6. We did see a lot of quick turns on that point.
Let's take a quick look at this score. Childress seeing Chip Yen with separation.
Yeah,
K-Pal
Astra
right there.
really able to use the break space there, immediately breaking the mark, swinging to open players. Really nice flow for them. Let's see if Arizona's O-line can have a clean hold in this wind, and with Astra's tight defense.
And we have Halverson on Astra preparing for the pool. Going downfield, we see Steiner, O'Connell, and Chang in the backfield. Cody Lippincott. Steiner with the disc. Looking for Chang. Not able to make it, so lets off a huge huck. Landry running it down. But and Landry able to come down with that. Guzman right there with pressure. Chip able to keep that disc with Brown right there as well. Chip looking for Steiner back in the center of the field. They are in their red zone look. We have Garrett right on the end zone line. Back to Chang. Sidewinders being very patient here, working their set, looking for K-Spa, who sees Chang able to, again, put them right on the line.
Oh, reeled in by Garrett. That's a great grab. The throw a little behind her, but still able to maintain possession. That is a much-needed hold from the Arizona Sidewinders, bringing the score up to 9-7. Again, for the LA Astra still in the lead. That was a really nice offensive flow by Arizona, an incredibly athletic grab by Landry, able to read that disc. Let's see if we can get another look at that huck. The defense playing really well, trying to get in position, and Landry able to grab it just over number
Guzman right there.
93, Naomi Guzman. And then when they got close to the end zone, working it really patiently, moving through their handlers, making 100% throws, and great hands by Garrett, able to get that score for the Sidewinders O-line. Arizona finally back on defense. Let's see if they can convert one of the many turns that they've been generating.
Yep, score 9-7 Astra here with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. O'Connor to pick up immediately to Hannah. Looks like we might have a little bit of a pool play coming out here. Childress to Chip Yen. Back to Hannah. Hannah looking downfield, but gives it to O'Connor. O'Connor looking for a dump to Hannah. Hannah again looking downfield, finds what she wants, and a streaking Amy Lee, but oh, it is just out of reach with defensive pressure from Sidewinders.
Yeah, that is a downwind huck, and the wind is gusting a little right now. The disc sailed probably a little farther than Hannah intended, and Amy Lee, fast as she is, was not quite able to run it down, which will give Arizona a chance to break.
We have Salustro picking up, seeing Gazelle. Oh, but looks like Gazelle slips and is unable to complete that look. O'Connor to pick up on the sideline for Astra. Done on the mark. Great coverage by Powell on the initial dump. Pritchard with the disc. Back to O'Connor. Sang coming off the stack for that fill. Sang gives to O'Connor, goes up line.
We're seeing
Lee
really
filling.
good handler defense from Arizona here, playing really tight on those up lines.
We have Chip Yun with the disc, gives it to Lee. Back in the hands of Ava Hanna, who finds Pritchard. Looks like there is a pick called. I don't believe it is involved.
No, it looks like the player is just catching up, and the pre-stall will put us back into play.
Pritchard with the disc, sees Lee looking for a fill. Chip Yun able to come down with that. Ava Hanna finding Chip Yun, and they reel in the score once again for Astra.
Yeah, Arizona playing tight pressure D on the handlers early, but as the point went on, someone able to make it across with an upline for the score. Arizona's D-line was able to generate a chance for a turn, forcing LA to throw out of reach of their defender, but on that first throw, not quite able to find the receiver because Gazelle tripping on the turf gave LA a short field to convert for a hole.
Let's take a quick look at that play again. Oh, that is Chip Yun catching it. And now we have Sidewinders O-line back on the field. Definitely looking to close this gap. Oh, here is our replay. There's Ava Hanna. Back to Chip Yun, who you could see had dished it to
Yeah,
Hanna.
incredible give go from Chip Yun, throwing and just immediately going her mark on the break side of her, defending that break lane, not able to keep up.
Right, we have O'Connell picking up for Sidewinders. Some tight dump pressure from Astra. Landry able to come and bail out O'Connell. Looks poachy on the handlers.
We have the 3-3-1 again from Astra, forcing just a lot of throws from Arizona.
Garrett coming back to help out. We have Chang looking downfield, finding Garrett instead. Maxfield bid to try to save that possession, but not able to reel it in. So we have Cam Helm picking up for Astra for another break opportunity. Looking downfield, now looking dump. Still looking downfield. We see Annie no, but O'Connell in that deep space, able to get it back for Sidewinders. Chip Chang looking for a big huck across the field, but Igawa in that deep space. So back in Astra possession, and then Chip Chang with a run through D to give it back to the Sidewinders. Looks like O'Connell, nope, Chang picking up, giving a little time for their cutters to set up as well. Chang to Steiner. Steiner looking downfield, now looking dump. O'Connell centered. Back to Steiner. Steiner seeing a Maxfield going deep. Lippincott tries to get that disc, but another turn. We are going back and forth here between the teams. I think both teams are very anxious to get this score, and it's kind of showing in the throws not being as patient as they want. O'Connell not quite able to connect.
Looks like there's a foul on the throw there. And we saw at the beginning of this point, Astra coming down again in their 3-3-1 that's been just so effective in stopping the Arizona offense. They generated 2 Ds.
Pre-stall, 4, 3, 2, 1.
O'Connell picking up the disc to Chang, but bobbles out of Chang's hands.
Yeah,
and
a lot
Astra
of
again.
Uncharacteristic drops, just hitting players in the hands, trying to clap catch, and not able to come down with it. The wind is gusting, so perhaps those discs are bobbling up and down a little bit, which can make them hard to catch.
Some contact on a cut by Chang. There is discussion by the players.
Yeah, it looks like they're talking about whose body was in position. Everyone has the right to the space that they're in and the space immediately in front of them. Incidental contact can happen without it being a foul. It looks like they're talking through, whether they came into each other's lane.
Let's take a listen in.
Looks like the observer rules no foul.
O'Connell picking up for Sidewinders, looking off Chang, but Chang getting the disc with a blow-by. Steiner able to get away from her defender, but we do have a call.
Yeah, Igawa on Landry is another really fun matchup to watch. Both incredibly athletic players, very smart players as well, good at reading the disc, good throws. Veterans of the sport at this point, and that is a fun defensive matchup to keep an eye on. The wind is really gusting a lot this point. We can feel it a lot in the box, and we'll see who can put the most spin on their discs.
Steiner to Maxfield. Maxfield looking for Garrett. Garrett seeing Landry, but looking off to back to Maxfield, who sees Steiner. Steiner looking, finding Cody Lippincott just outside of the end zone. Back to Steiner. To Chang. Chang sees Steiner going up line, but looking to the break side to O'Connell. It is called just out of the goal. Back to Chang, seeing Landry, putting it to a sneaky Maxfield on the far side.
Chip Yang looking upfield, seeing everyone covered, reaching a high stall, trying to put that disc out to space on the open side, and the wind just pushing it down immediately. And we've got a timeout on the field. Looks like that's going to be a timeout for Astra. They having to go and pick up the disc before the timeout can officially start. The score right now, 10-7. Astra still up, leading pretty much wire to wire this game, although Arizona has several times come pretty close to tying the game. We've got only a minute left in the third quarter. Jory, what do you think this point means to each team?
For Sidewinders, it definitely means closing that gap, kind of gaining momentum back into not just generating those Ds, but converting them into breaks. For Astra, it would mean a lot to keep that gap as large as possible. Point differential really playing into things for conference. And at the end of the day, I think this windy point, the amount of turns that have happened in just this single point, it would mean a lot to either team to close it out with that score.
That's right. Yeah, I think especially, you know, in the latter half of games, it becomes a mental battle. These athletes are running hard, they're playing hard, it's windy conditions, there's a lot of turns, and being able to watch each disc into your hand, really make 100% sure of every catch, every throw needed to step out, put a lot of snap on that disc to keep it from popping up or falling too soon. It's really a mental grind, and staying mentally focused in is going to be really important to help close this game out.
And we have Astra O-line swapped in, Hannah picking up. Looks like two defenders sagging to mark Hannah. O'Connor in the center. Back to Hannah, to O'Connor. Astra really working it through their handlers. O'Connor finding Weaver. Able to maintain possession with a dive. Oh, but just out of reach of Chip Yen.
Yeah, and with 37 seconds left on the clock, oh, Arizona denied their chance.
Ava Hannah to pick up to Lee. Lee looking downfield, sees Chip Yen going. K-Powell right there, but Chip Yen with the read and the score, able to take that huck all the way to the end zone. A great throw by Lee, and then a great read by Chip Yen.
Yeah, and that is going to be a break from LA Astra. Let's take another look at that.
We see Lee with the disc.
Yeah, really an incredible deep throw. The disc floating over Powell, and Chip Yen able to run onto it in stride. Those are the really beautiful hucks that are going to be completed, you know, when you have an open defender and you're throwing to the open space in front of them.
Chip Yen, one of the younger players on Astra's roster, but really having a great game last week in San Francisco and showing that they are able to reel in the disc for the score during this game. We are seeing that the time remaining in this quarter
is 20 seconds, which means this is likely Arizona's last chance to score this quarter. Likely only one possession unless Astra can get an almost immediate D.
Possession being the key word. Sidewinders needing to maintain possession of this disc. Steiner to O'Connell. O'Connell finding Garrett. Garrett looking off K-Spa. Finding Chip Chang. Pick called. A lot of players in that area. Going back to Garrett. Chip getting that disc on the sideline. Garrett staying back. And seeing K-Spa. And she's able to maintain her hold on that disc even with Pagella right there on defense. And that is the score, the hold.
Quarter. Yeah, that's a hold to end out the third quarter. Arizona really needed that clean hold. Great read and box out by Collegius Spolaris. That's going to bring her up to 2 assists and a goal. Really a dynamic cutter for Arizona. Grinds on the unders, great receiver deep, and throwing assists as well, able to be on both sides of the disc.
A long point that we just saw to close out the third quarter, and I think an important point, as you said, for both teams, but for Sidewinders, let's see a replay of that. Let's see some highlights from this quarter. See Weaver with the disc, and then that throw from Childress, and it is to Chip Yen.
Yeah, making incredible use of the break side. I've got Arizona with a gorgeous huck, and this is the one that Landry is able to grab over the defender. Just a great read, a great sky.
And this is Lee's huck, again to Chip Yen in the end zone.
Yeah, beautiful placement and good read by Chip Yen, able to see that disc coming in over her back shoulder. Now we've got Chip Chang with a break huck to Colagius Valeris, who's able to grab it over her defender to close out the quarter.
All right, and that is the end of the third quarter. Astra 11, Sidewinders 8. We have the fourth quarter remaining. All right, and we are back heading into the fourth quarter of Astra versus Sidewinders. Astra with a lead on Sidewinders.
Up 11-8, and this is a really different Astra than the Astra we saw last week. Last week they were missing Caitlin Weaver, but other than that addition, they have most of their roster here. We're going to take a quick look at some of the game stats. So again, both teams with 6 holds, but Astra able to break 5 times to Arizona's 2.
All right, and we have the pull from Astra to start off the fourth quarter. Looks like it went out of bounds, so Steiner bringing it in to center. And we see O'Connell in the backfield with Chang at the top of the disc, and Bile with a run through D on Gazelle.
She's excited about that one. That is not her first run through D this game.
Coming under for Helm. Looking for Helm out of that space. Unfortunately, Astra not able to come down with that. We see Dunn streaking deep, coming under, really making space. Steiner with the disc, looking for Chang. Chang with the disc, seeing Landry downfield. Bile trying to close that distance, but Landry, oh, an amazing bid, but just off Landry's fingertips.
Yeah, that was some incredible D by Bile. That is not her first run through D of the game. An incredibly fast player, playing a little bit behind her players with really high closing speed, able to run through and get those blocks. Garrett as well on that throw from Astra that went into a pile of people. Garrett getting her hand in there, knocking it down, making sure no one else could catch it. And that was a really nice huck from Chip Yen and an incredible, Chip Chang, and an incredible effort by Landry. Able to get her hands on it. That just went really far. That's an impressively athletic play.
Pagella to pick up and Landry on the mark. Looks like we have Igawa in the backfield with Pagella. Oh, some confusion and Sidewinders.
Garrett again getting just a quick little knockdown poach D off the middle of the stack.
Chang to pick up, looking downfield, looking for O'Connell. O'Connell with the disc, looking back for Chang, but finding Garrett. Garrett to Steiner. Staying in the backfield. Garrett finding O'Connell, floaty disc. O'Connell able to come down with it in play. And Landry for the score.
What an incredible point by Arizona. Able to get a lot of sneaky Ds off of discs from LA that went maybe a couple inches off of the line that was intended, but ending up a little bit behind, a little bit ahead of the receiver, and Arizona able to take advantage of those, knock the disc down, and then get a chance to score. Landry finally getting her hands on the disc in the end zone.
Let's get a replay of that. We see Steiner to Garrett. Garrett finding O'Connell. O'Connell being patient and able to maintain the disc within the sideline, and then finding Landry.
Yeah, tightly defended, but O'Connell was able to
Let's see if we can
sneak that disc into a tight window.
Let's see some stats. These are actually for Landry. O'Connell, though, having a great game out there, as we said, filling in the role on O-line, handling for Sidewinders, and doing a great job out there, really finding her rhythm with
those
Chang.
first couple point jitters seems like those are totally gone. She's made some really great grabs, making full use of her height, coming down with discs that other players may not have the reach for, putting in nice break throws and tight windows, really having a good game.
Right, and we have Weaver centering up to O'Connor. O'Connor sees Chip Yen streaking deep, but we have Cynthia Thomas right there, and Yen is able to come down with that throw. Huge play by LA, very quick.
Yeah, that's a nice, quick and clean hold, which means Arizona's, at this point, pretty tired. O-line has to go right back out. I think, you know, in games like this where the O-line has been playing a lot, it's really important for the D-line to put in the work to make the O-line work harder and give their own O-line more time to rest. Here we're going to see the replay of that really gorgeous huck, giving LA just such a quick score.
And it does seem like Sidewinders are understanding that Yen is a deep threat and have put on a couple of different very fast defenders to try to contain them as they make those deep cuts, but Yen able to speed by and come down with that huck from O'Connor.
Yeah, the score is 12-9. Astra, they're up by 3 with 9 minutes left. That's definitely a gap that can be overcome, but Arizona is going to have to start converting most of their break chances. The disc is rolling really far out of bounds, but Arizona's going to have a pretty short field to work with.
We'll see O'Connell picking up for Sidewinders. Martinez on the mark. Steiner in the backfield with Halverson. O'Connell finding Lippincott under. Igawa poaching off to stop Landry. Chang with the disc. Finding Lippincott. Lippincott looking downfield but giving it back to Chang. Chang seeing O'Connell. Getting it centered to O'Connell. K-Spot coming under for a quick upfield throw. O'Connell getting it back on the sideline, looking for Chang. Chang looking, finding Garrett. Garrett looking downfield, faking off, back to Chang. Chang also looking downfield, finding Landry. Landry right outside the end zone. Chang bidding to maintain possession of the disc, finding Garrett, and a floaty throw to Garrett for the score, and that is a clean hold.
Yeah, Arizona took more throws to do it than LA did, but they were making sure of every throw, really working the unders, and they have been able to make a clean hold as well. That's much needed from Arizona. Great play by Garrett, who had a really nice snag of a disc going a little far past her, and then again gets found in the end zone. Let's see a replay of that. We've got Landry back to Chang, who probably thinks she's going to toe it in, but was not in, and no problem throws it to Garrett. That's a really nice break throw from Chip Chang. And Garrett able to get in there. That's her second goal. She's also had 2 assists and a block this game. Really incredible play from Garrett. Super fast player, really good hands. Pretty integral part of Arizona's O-line.
And we have Eifert with the pull for Sidewinders. Sidewinders defense really hunting for the conversion and the break on this point. O'Connor catching that pull immediately to Childress. Childress looking downfield, finding Weaver. Weaver back to Childress. Childress not seeing any cutters going deep, so back to Weaver. Weaver finding Chip Yen. Back to Weaver. Weaver needing a fill. O'Connor able to grab that disc past a bidding defender. Looking for Weaver. A lot of little dish give goes here. And we have Hannah right outside the end zone. Back to Weaver. Pritchard. Pritchard looking for a dump. Weaver there. Looks like we do have a call. Stall called.
Yeah, and at the start of that point, you could see Arizona come down in a match defense, but really backing a lot of the cutters, playing behind them. LA has scored a lot of scores off of deep throws, especially going in this direction. So Arizona backing their players, able to stop that initial huck. And then as the disc got closer to the end zone, tightening up, playing really tight pressure D, taking away the unders as well. And generating a stall, which is going to be contested, but definitely taking away a lot of those downfield options, making the throwers hold the disc for a long time.
And we have Weaver picking up the disc. Looking to Hannah. Childress right outside. And it looks like Chip Yen for the score.
Yeah, great patience from Astra, working through that tight pressure D from Arizona, finding a sure throw, working through the handlers, really using the break side. We saw a lot of nice break throws there. And Chip Yen having a really great game. She has been in the end zone a lot for LA. 5 goals this game, which is, yeah, way more than anyone else on Astra. That's a really incredible number of goals for one player in a single game. Really got an eye for the end zone. We'll take another look at that.
And that is Childress just outside of the end zone and able to find Yen for a quick dish.
Yeah, that is also Childress's 5th assist this game. Another very impressive number. Seems like the two of them may be coordinating. Childress saying, I'll take the assist, Yen taking the goal. 5 goals and 0 turns this game from Chip Yen.
Astra for the pool. We have Halverson with a floaty pool. O'Connell to pick up.
Looks like LA is in their 3-3-1 again.
Let's see how Sidewinders do against this poachy look. They've seen it a few times now. Oh, and a bidding block from Bile. Pagello with the disc to Brown, to Halverson, Camhelm. Back to Halverson, center of the field, looking for Bile. Looking downfield. Phil from Camhelm, not quite able to make it there. Landry streaking deep with Bile close behind, but O'Connell is taking her time to pick up the disc. Patiently getting it to Chang. Chang looking for Garrett. Garrett seeing Cody Lippincott going deep, and that is a score.
Yeah, that's a hold from Arizona. LA's 3-3-1. We've seen over and over be really effective in stopping the Sidewinders, but the Sidewinders were able to get the disc back, and Garrett places a really nice huck to a wide open Cody Lippincott, who came down with that for the goal.
And let's take another look at that shot to Lippincott.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
lots of nice space, an OI flick out to the open side. Tons of room for Lippincott to run onto that throw. Really no way for the defense to make a play on it.
As we're going into the last minutes of this fourth quarter, we have the score 13-11, still a very closable gap, and Sidewinders on defense looking to convert, looking to break and get even closer to Astra.
Yeah, Sidewinders got a lot of really great players on this D-line here, hoping for a quick break to keep them in the game.
Astra's O-line has Childress centering to Hannah. Hannah looking downfield for Weaver. Weaver finding Lee a little too high, and Eifert able to tap that disc down, and Powell to pick up. Sidewinders now with that break chance. Powell faking off Dunn, finding Megan Maxfield, and a timeout is called.
Yeah, this is a really important possession for the Sidewinders. They were able to generate that really quick turn, and if they can convert now, the game will be within one. And a game within one is anyone's game.
Exactly.
Really incredible work from Arizona to get down quickly on the pull, and they're playing match defense, but with a little bit of help in the deep space, able to rely on their teammates. You have the deep, I'll take the under, so that they can put a lot of pressure on the right players in the right spaces at the right time, forcing a missed throw from LA.
And a very strategic timeout here from the Sidewinder coaches. Put your O-line in, get this break scored. We see K. Powell staying on the line. We see Chip Chang, O'Connell, key players Sidewinders need to, in order to possess the disc and score this and bring it in to just a difference of 1 point.
Yeah, it looks like Arizona's going to start off with a split stack, 2 players on the sideline, 3 handlers back, and then giving Lippincott and Eifert a lot of space downfield to get open and gain a lot of yards, get the offense flowing. They are being guarded by Bile and Childress, 2 of LA's really great defenders. So
Chang tapping in the disc. Lippincott looking to get free of Bile, unable to, so Chang gives it to Powell. Powell to Landry. Landry looking downfield, not finding anything. Back to Powell, to Landry. Switch by Astra on defense. Landry looking downfield, finds Eifert. Eifert sees Dunn going deep, but decides to give it to O'Connell. O'Connell sees Chip Chang. Chang looking downfield, sees Landry, a floaty disc. We have Bile and Brown in the area, and Landry able to get the disc and come down with a pivotal score.
That
for
is a
Sidewinders.
huge break for Arizona. You can see their whole team storming the field. Landry again making a great play, a huge sky, great read, getting up in the air, grabbing that disc. That is super important for Arizona. Great timeout call again by the coaches, putting in an O-line. LA's defense able to keep them from getting that first throw off, but the O-line super patient. Let's take another look at that incredible deep shot from Chip Chang to Landry. 2 defenders, but Landry is able to box Brown out and come down with the score for her team.
And Chip Chang, one of the newcomers to Sidewinders, who I think has really helped the Sidewinders with the shots able to take. And we're seeing some stats here on the screen of Landry, 2 goals, one of those goals being extremely pivotal for Sidewinders. But yeah, that shot from Chip Chang just shows that she has been an incredible addition to the Sidewinders handler line. Pull from Eifert for Sidewinders.
Yeah, score is 13-12. Astra only up by 1. We'll see if the Sidewinders can get another quick opportunity to break.
Pull going out of bounds. Hannah picking it up. We see O'Connor and Weaver in the backfield. 3 minutes left on the clock. 13-12 Astra. Hannah checking in the disc. To Weaver. Weaver seeing Pritchard. Pritchard looking downfield, sees Lee. Oh, and just off the hands of Lee. Sidewinders with another break chance here. To Eifert. And an uncharacteristic drop from Gazelle. So Astra again with a chance to score. O'Connor picking up to Hannah, back to O'Connor. Handlers are working it. Looks a little...
Looks like LA has called a timeout of their own. This is their O-line with the disc, but perhaps a little rattled up by that first turn. Want to take a moment to breathe, refocus, and make sure that they can put the disc in the end zone to maintain their lead. Good deep play by Arizona. We saw them again come down in a person D, but backing the players a little bit, putting some players in the deep space, forcing those undercuts, hoping, you know, maybe that the wind would pop some discs up and give them a chance to knock down some junk. A really unfortunate turn from Arizona on their offense. They had some oven cutters. Kez Gazelle, who has made a lot of really athletic grabs, unfortunately not able to come down with it this time, but I think this Arizona D-line wants the disc back. Here's some stats for O'Connor. She's got 2 goals and 2 assists this game. Really a player that can throw and is also a receiving threat and a pivotal part of the offense for LA.
And we have Ava Hanna picking up. I think a very wise call by the Astra coach to have that timeout, get everyone settled, and play their offense. Hannah looking for Childress downfield. Weaver somehow coming up with the disc. And Hannah to O'Connor. O'Connor looking downfield. Back to Hannah. Maxfield's hand right there, though. Hannah looking, finding Weaver. Weaver on the sideline for an IO flick, but Eifert is there for the poach D. And now we have Harn picking up for Sidewinders' chance. Harn giving it to Merrick. We have Childress down on the field.
Really good defensive play by Arizona. Looks like that might be a cramp on the field, a trainer coming out to come take a look. But yeah, great defensive pressure by Arizona within inches of so many dump throws, really building up that pressure and forcing a really tight look with some great heads up D off the stack to knock it down and make sure of that block.
Let's take another look here, see if we can see what happens. This is Sidewinders picking up. Oh, it was actually contact with Weaver.
Yeah, looks like
Childress and Weaver, long time playing together on Santa Barbara. Recently played in the club season together on Flipside. They also live together. So I'm sure Weaver is really hoping that Childress is okay. We also see here another teammate Singh, who is a chiropractor, helping out her teammate, making sure she is okay.
It's going to keep going.
Let's go ahead and take a quick break here in the fourth quarter.
Is everything still good on camera 4? I hit a button and a menu popped up.
And we're back in the fourth quarter. We do see Childress able to be taken off the field.
Yeah, it looks like the teams are in a timeout, having a quick huddle. We have a little under 2 minutes left in this quarter. It is the fourth and final quarter, and the score's within one. We have Astra up 13-12. They have been leading the whole game, but a 1-point difference could go to anyone.
And just a reminder, when we are in the last 2 minutes of a quarter, time stops with every call that happens on the field.
That's right, and Arizona is on offense, so they have a chance to score. If they score, that would be a tie game, although they do have the majority of the field to go, about 70 yards. Chip Chang, one of their main handlers, is going to be picking up the disc, and LA has some players on the field lining up in a tight person D with a little help off the back of the stack.
Chang tapping in the disc with Martinez on the mark. Powell as Chang's dump. Dunn looking to be looking poached, but Chang throwing it to Gazelle, and there is a foul on that defensive play by Chip Yen of Astra. The players are going to discuss.
Yeah, definitely great defense by Astra. Chip Yen able to take that inside lane. Gazelle still trying to make a play on the disc. Both players sort of going into the same space at the same time, and looks like they're talking through the sequence of events. In the WUL, players only have a couple seconds to talk through a play. Let's take another look at that disc going up, and Chip Yen on the outside lane, but putting a lot of pressure trying to keep Gazelle narrow. And looks like the ruling is that there was no foul.
O'Connor to pick up for Astra. Maxfield on the mark. O'Connor looking for Weaver. Looking downfield, sees Bile. Oh, bounces off of Bile. And Sidewinders with another chance to score. Chang picking up, looking for Powell. Powell covered well. A call down the field. It looks like a pick call.
Yeah, LA playing tight D. Not many downfield looks for Chip Chang.
Chang with the disc. Finding Maxfield, pass a bidding O'Connor to Eifert. Back to Chang. Chang seeing Dunn poached. Unfortunately, Dunn with a uncharacteristic drop, and O'Connor picking up.
Yeah, this is a really important, really exciting point, and a lot of players are making drops that normally they would not in this really high pressure situation.
Astra holding onto the disc. Chip Yen faking off, looking for help. Halverson coming back. Halverson looking for an upline to Weaver. Weaver going across to Maggie O'Connor, who bids for the score.
Yeah, really incredible play by Maggie O'Connor. Caitlin Weaver making use of the break side as her mark jumps over to try to prevent an upline score, putting a trust throw far, far out to space for her teammate to run and then bid onto. Really incredible catch by Maggie O'Connor, able to track that disc down and make a catch.
And we are just under 30 seconds in the fourth quarter. Let's take a quick look at that again. Here's Weaver with the disc, putting it out to space, as he said, to O'Connor, who bids to
and
just
that's
make sure.
A really important point for Astra. The Sidewinders there had so many chances to score and tie up the game, but with 20 seconds left on the clock, this one is likely going to go to Astra. A much-needed win for them after their pretty large loss to San Francisco last week. This is definitely a team that is looking way more in sync. able to make big plays, but more importantly, make a lot of good decisions, really making use of the break side, using their zone really well. A lot of Ds generated by that zone.
And here we go, a pull from Astra. Chang picking up for Sidewinders to O'Connell. O'Connell immediately, huge huck down the field. Bile there for the D, but Sidewinders able to hold onto the disc. And it looks like a quick score off of that huge huck from O'Connell. Let's see if we can get a replay of that sequence there.
Yeah, and I think that was Colgus Polaris coming down with that huck. Looks like Arizona's strategy was, hey, we need to score immediately to give us a chance to break. With only 8 seconds left on the clock, an incredibly fast point. Caroline O'Connell immediately putting up a big huck to her teammate, needing to score immediately. We'll take a look at that huck. Great defense from LA. But number 26, able to come down with it, dishing to Garrett, who gives it to Colgus Polaris for a really quick and important hold for Arizona.
Yeah,
we're now going to see their D-line, who has 4 seconds to get a block.
Great effort by Pisani on that huck, able to hold onto it even after the defensive play by Bile.
Yeah, incredible read by Pisani, and way to keep her eyes on the disc and really make sure to get her body under it, clutch the disc to her, maintain possession, and get that much needed point for the Sidewinders.
So we have a short pull from Sidewinders.
Yeah, they're
Rolled
looking to get a really quick turn here, pretty much. I mean, all Eva Hanna has to do is hold the disc for 3 seconds, but Arizona is going to give it their all.
And O'Connor holding onto the disc, some contact downfield.
Yeah, and that is time, which means this is the last possession for LA Astra. They do still care about scoring this point, though, because point differential does make a difference in the WUL. Last season, the 4th team to make the playoffs came down to a 3-way tie, and the point differential made a huge difference. Looks like Astra says, that's okay, we'll take the win though. And Maggie O'Connor puts the disc on the ground, ending the game. 14-13 LA, Arizona. What an incredible matchup. Jory, what are some of your thoughts?
I think going into this game, Sidewinders coming off of their strong showing against Tempest, the last season champion, and Oregon Onyx, people were probably favoring Sidewinders for this. And you know what? This is an extremely close score, just as close as all of their defensive plays have been throughout the game. They played amazing defense, very tight, bids whenever possible. Just an incredible game from Sidewinders in terms of defensive play. I think what got to them here was that conversion.
Yeah, that's definitely right. LA able to come out and really recoup themselves after last weekend, have a bit of a mental reset between last weekend and this weekend. I'm sure having Caitlin Weaver here this week helped a lot. She made a lot of great saves, had a lot of great plays.
And also, Hanny Pagella here this weekend was also gone for Astra. I think helps as well in the backfield, having these key players round out the roster for them.
Yeah, and for Arizona, we're going to take a quick look at some game stats. So both teams with the same number of holds. Arizona actually had more clean holds, able to score without turning the disc. Both teams a lot of turns. We saw windy conditions, spiraling wind, upwind, downwind, a lot of bobbles as well. But Astra was able to break just one more time than the Sidewinders. Able to convert 5 out of 14 breaks to Arizona's 4 out of 15. Really an incredibly even game from these stats. Pretty well-matched teams, just the difference of one break. Arizona staying in it till the very end, never giving up, putting their heads down, working harder, running faster, trying to get every block they could.
All right, let's take a look at the play of the game. As you can see here, this is the Discraft play of the game, the pivotal O'Connor layout in the end zone with that huge throw from Weaver.
Yeah, tracking down that floaty break throw, and I would say this play pretty much secured the win for LA Astra. That was a point where Arizona had chances to break and tie up the game, but Astra clinched down on their lead, made sure that they really took it wire to wire to win that game.
I think they did an amazing job making adjustments from last weekend and making sure that they had as many scores as possible.
Yeah, here's some looks at some of the highlights from the game. Jasmine Childress with a great throw to...
And then we have Bile here, that little throw, and a huge huck. And Brown able to come down with it just outside. And another huge huck from Carly Steiner this time for Sidewinders. And Landry getting it over Guzman. Tight defense there. Just a lot of huge plays here, a lot of hucks that connected, which is incredible in the way that the wind had been gusting throughout these games.
Yeah, really impressive. Both teams coming into this weekend had a little under 50% huck completion. It'll be interesting to see what the stats say about this, but a lot of well-placed shots at important moments.
And once again, a look at the layout from Maggie O'Connor, number 12. Thank you for joining us here today for the first game of the San Diego Beach Bowl 2023 with a huge win for Astra, 14-13 over Sidewinders. Next up, we have San Diego Super Bloom playing the San Francisco Falcons at 7 p.m. Please stay tuned.